Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of how to do mnemonics for the antibiotic group. And when you draw it out on one page, you see how the differences in each one stand out, and it's real easy to visualize the different groups because you see the pictures in your head, so it's easy to recall them. And so we can talk about that as we go through. So, what I'm going to do is talk about antibiotic groups. And I'm just going to do the six, like, kind of main ones that have the real suffix or prefix because some are a little trickier to put in this picture, but I already have a visual how to do like a side antibiotic group for the four more that I'm not going to touch today. And so we have this antibiotic groups, and what I have here is some bricks. I didn't want to really design and create a big backdrop because it's different when I sketch than when you have all these things to distract you if you put different things on the back of a wall like garbage cans and things. So we're going to talk about making this mnemonic into an alley. And so it's going to be kind of, you visualize being in an alley, and it's called Bacteria Alley. So these are antibiotic groups, and this is Bacteria Alley. So first we're going to start with tetracycline. And as you know, the ending is cycline is pretty common of the antibiotic groups. And usually the mnemonics I've seen, it goes with a bicycle. So let's put that bicycle up here. And what I did is I put this guy's in the alley, right? And his basket's full of, like, bugs, ticks, mites. And his cheeks are a little red because of like rosacea. You can visualize this picture of this bicycle guy, and the side effects would be inflammation of the skin and the stained teeth. So that's why I put a little yellow in the teeth. And if you notice, his bike is green, which is a lime color because it's good for Lyme disease. And so, like, if I'm taking a board and I just go, oh my gosh, which one's good for Lyme disease? I can close my eyes and I can picture there's a green bike, and that's tetracycline, which, it's cycling, it kind of runs really easy together. That's an easy one. That's why I made it first. So, the next one we're going to do is macrolides. And I came up with mice on a big slide because we have, it's mycin. So, and it's mice in, so mice on a big slide, mice in a big slide. And let's see, here's the picture. It's mice. And there's that air duct system that goes along the back of an alley. And sketching is so much easier than trying to find some like clip arts, and maybe sketching with the clip arts. I don't have all the tools because it's not really my profession, but I just wanted to get this mnemonic out because I really enjoy it. It's really easy for me to retain these antibiotics. So the mice on the big slide, you have a macro, which means large. So you have macro slide. You can just kind of phonetically make that macro slides, macro lides. You've got mice on the slide. And then I put with the air duct, which works out well because it's really good for like ear, nose, and throat. It's good for, let's see. So there's the ending is mice. Oh, that's why I kept saying mice on the side because it's mycin. So I'm sure, I always feel like everybody knows it, sort of, but yeah, it's mycin is the ending, and we have it's good for tuberculosis, pneumonia, ear, nose, and throat problems. So what you could have also done it, or you can when you sketch it yourself, is you can make a tube, like this mice might slide into a tube, and then you remember that's tuberculosis. So when you visualize it, 'cause like I said, you're sitting there on this board and you're like, oh my gosh, which one is for tuberculosis? And then you close your eyes and you're like, oh my gosh, the mice are sliding into a tube. It's so, your brain just is going to recall that because it's so random, and it's your picture, it's your design. And you will create what you feel or what you're told is going to be on the board. You add what you want to in your design, whether you need to know like gram positive or gram negative or both. And macrolides is the only one who's gram positive in this group, only gram positive. The others are gram positive and gram negative. So you could do something with a plus sign or something positive in your mind, a little mnemonic to remember that. So good for the respiratory system. And now we're going to go over, so that's 2 of the 6, penicillin. Penicillin's another one that we kind of know, but it's just a quick way to recall them all together in a group. So penicillin, it's psyllin. And what I did, because I've seen it in my mnemonics and it kind of helps keep it in the same kind of memory, is I put a pen. That is a dirty looking, dirty like in the background is dirty, I apologize. Penicillin. And if you notice, I put like the ear, nose, and throat are blue. The nose and the ear anyways is blue. So you know it's good for ear, nose, and throat. And then if you notice the one side I have a staff. So the pen is kind of hanging on the staff here. And then on the other side is, it's supposed to be kind of like, he stripped off his shirt because it's good for strep. So it's strep and staff it's good for. And let's see, there they are, ear, nose, and throat, skin. And the pen, has yellow at the bottom because it's good for urinary infections. So you can make it your pictures as you want to, as weird as you want, because there's, STDs, and I'm not going to draw out anything, but you could in your mind like picture how it can work in your mnemonic. As weird as it is, sometimes the stories help you retain it. So that's your penicillin. And now let's go to fluoroquinolones. So we have a sin is the ending to it. And what I did is, so we have fluoroquinolones, and it can be tricky to remember that, actually, like how do I put that together? And it's kind of out of the box thinking, but I actually kind of really enjoy this one the most. I don't know why, but so I made it as sister fluoroquine. So it's a sister, like a nun sister fluoroquine, which kind of sounds like a badass. And so here is my sister fluoroquine. And so I spelled sister with a C because, it's a sin. The sin I spelled with a C, and then I drew kind of like a little S under it. And, she knocks out sin, this sister, right? So side effects is mental health. So I drew the little swigglies above her head, and then low blood sugar. So I put a little candy bar in her arm, in her hand on the left side. And it inhibits DNA, and it's for life-threatening more. It's like a harder antibiotic group. That's why I put a knife there. And because it also goes right to the DNA of the bacteria. So that was pretty, I thought, badass of sister fluoroquine. I put a big Q on a chain necklace because she's just really cool. So that's a way to remember this antibiotic, fluoroquine. And I always just keep calling her sister fluoroquine. So it's a sin, and the nun knocks out the sin. So it's fluoroquine. And so, all right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 2 more. Awesome. Okay, so the next one would be sulfonamides, and the prefix is sulfa. And of course, that sounds just like sofa. And so in a back alley, if you can visualize a sofa and what it would look like, let's put that here. There's your sofa. It's gross, right? So what I like about the sofa in the back alley, right, the bacteria alley, is that here's what it's for. It goes through the folate. That's how it attacks the bacteria through the folate. But then it's for urinary tract infection, burns, eyes, bowel infection. So if you look on there, and parasites, and so you look on there, you have a little urine on the couch, you have on the sofa, you have some little bowel movement, like steaming, so gross, sorry, burns on the couch. And let's see, we could also add it's folate, but I put foliage, so you do a little green foliage on there, so that might make it stand out of anything else, like it's growing some greens on this couch that's sitting there in a back alley. That's gross. Oh, another thing too is to remember for sulfonides, but you could add it in your drawing, but it's also, not prescribed if you're pregnant, and it's synthetic. So, you can make that story really easy with that sofa, with the sofa drawing. All right, so let's see, we have cephalosporin. Let's get that one up here. That's our last one. Here we go, right up there. Cephalosporin, and the prefix would be se, and it is good for skin, ears, urinary. Cephalosporin is used when people have allergies to penicillin, and that's usually when they what I have found is when they're offering it is when they have a penicillin allergy, and so it covers a lot of the same things. And so when I look at the word, it reminds me of like a dinosaur, like a cephalosaurus. I don't know if it does you, but I mean, there actually is a cephalosaurus, but I did not put that cephalosaurus on there because, there we go, cephalosaurus, if you see that. The cephalosaurus was so weird looking dinosaur, and I really just wanted to put a better dinosaur, so that one looked tougher and meaner to me, and I did not sketch that. That was way too difficult to sketch and then put on here. But okay, so we have the cephalosaurus, which is cephalosporin, and skin, ears, urinary. Of course, I drew a little yellow at the bottom of the cephalosaurus and a red ear for inflammation. And I put it over the penicillin, so maybe you remember that. That's usually the next go-to if the penicillin isn't working or if they have an allergy to that. So if you notice, we have 6 antibacterials, antibiotic groups on here. And if you look at them, practice them just a little bit, and then put what you find is unique for yourself in the drawing when you sketch them out, you're going to find that you're going to retain this, and you'll be able to, better than, like, when you learn like the letter and then the word, it doesn't associate with the antibiotic, like a big green turtle ran down the road. That would be like your antibiotic, mnemonic to remember. It's really hard to put that into practice because even though you might be able to do it for the board, when you're sitting there in the office and someone spouts out that they're giving somebody like erythromycin, you're like, you have to go to the letters, and then you have to make it macrolide, and then you have to be able to make it, there's so many steps. But if you think mice on the slide, macrolide, erythromycin, it's going to come to you so quickly in practice, in life in general, by seeing this picture. And I really recommend that you sketch it out yourself, because then you feel it and the pictures are yours. But it would be fun to do this in a black and white, and then have you could color it or do whatever you want to remember it. And like I said, there's 4 more that I'm going to try to make one and put it like in a side alley, and it's kind of like with the Lincoln car, and there's a couple of car ones, and that I would make it into cars. That's me kind of thinking here out this next project. But I hope that you found some good stuff with this, or it inspired you to create your own. And let me know what other kind of mnemonics you do, because I do enjoy these, but it's not my job, and so I know they look a little sketch, the drawings. But yeah, thanks for watching this.